everyone. Michael Liu here. Welcome to my journey with Young-Onset Parkinson's disease. Today, I want to take the time to talk to you guys about how I approach life in general, one wave at a time. Time is truly our most precious commodity. We all have a limited amount of time on this planet, on this earth, this life, this experience. I also want to share that, we can always make more money. We can always buy new things. We can always start over in different areas of life, but none of us can make more time. And, so again, time is limited, it's finite. And that's why I've learned and approached my life in trying to spend it with the ones I truly love, who bring me peace, joy, happiness, love, support. So the treasures in life that I truly value and appreciate so much, it's just like laughter, love, having gratitude for the things in life that I have, adventure, family, faith, friendship, food. I love food. And just creating more memories throughout my life with the people that I care about and that I treasure the most. Living with young onset Parkinson's disease has taught me, that things arise in life unexpectedly, and that life is truly like a set of waves. Things are unpredictable at times. Waves can be good, waves can be bad, and we just have to take it. I approach my own life by taking waves one wave at a time. For example, like my medication, there are times in my life where the medication is not working when I want it to be working, and I just have to know that I have to ride out that moment, that experience, that troubling wave for the time being, and that when the medication will work, that there's a better wave to come, where I'm at peace. I'm able to do the things I love to do. I appear sometimes to be like that I'm cured or that I'm fixed, that or something that's working for me. And that's able to let me have moments in my life where I'm able to truly enjoy myself and be happy. But then, again, like it's just like the weather or anything else in life, cycles come, and there are moments where, the bad wave comes again and my medication eventually wears off, or I have to go to sleep and I wake, so throughout the night, wake up the next morning, with the tremors or whatever, dyskinesia or rigidity, muscle stiffness, which I've been experiencing a lot of my shoulders. And again, that's just another wave for me to have to ride out and wait for the next good one. Talking about waves as well, I also want to share some of my more difficult and challenging waves that I experience that maybe many of you don't know that I experience or encounter throughout my day-to-day. There are times where my waves bring me feelings of anxiousness, discouragement, frustration, exhaustion, fatigue. And again, during these moments, I kind of just push on through. You just take it one step at a time. You don't overwhelm yourself with looking, how long is this going to last? How many years will this be like? What's my body going to look like 10 years, 20 years? You're just in that moment, and me personally, I'm just sitting there waiting for when medications kicks in and when's my next break basically going to be. And how am I going to utilize that break? Like, what am I going to do with that time when I'm able to regain control of my body when the medication's working? So I think the big takeaway is to know that, the bad times aren't here to stay forever. The bad waves will pass by, and then there's going to be a good wave that comes, and that, medication has brought myself peace with my young onset Parkinson's disease, and that, it allows me to have this time, moments in life where I'm able to do things that I like or love, ice skating, ice hockey, hiking, trying to learn how to surf, snowboarding, things of that nature, even if it's as simple as, having just control over my body for a nice Thanksgiving dinner, for Christmas, things that I really just try to really look forward to in life and appreciate. Also, like having this perspective of taking life one wave at a time, seeing it as just, one little step at a time, it makes it so much easier to live life without having to carry so much weight and so much burden of worrying about, what's it going to look like, years to come, months to come, next week. We can't look that far down the road. No one knows the future. It's unpredictable. We don't know what's to come, what medical advancements may be there around the corner. So, there's good and bad that can be thought to look, that can make a spiral as we look down the road too far ahead. And I think that also causes us to miss living in the moment and appreciating what we have, and to living life with who's present with us, and how we can spend this time, having peace, love, laughter, and joy. Also, we don't want to let the unknown steal our current joy and peace, that we can tap into and experience today. And I know that's easier said than done, and it takes time. Through my journey with Parkinson's disease, I've experienced sadness, fear, anger, moments where I'm questioning, myself and God, like, why is this happening to me? Like, why did this have to happen to both my brother and myself at such a young age? But, these our emotions are normal, and the thought process, I would say, is normal to question things, to think that, we're the only ones suffering. That's what makes us human, that, there's just things that we don't have the answers to at this time. And that's okay, and that we don't have to carry the burden alone, and that there is a community of people that have walked these footsteps long before I have. I would also like to share with you all that one of the greatest sources of strength in my life has been my faith. The weight of this disease it's heavy. It's very heavy. And I couldn't carry it all alone. And if you never explored faith, or maybe you felt distant from God, I want to invite you to start having a conversation with him, praying. And praying, there's no right or wrong way to pray. It could be a conversation. It could be, worship. There's different ways we can communicate to God and talk to him and help, invite him. You don't have to have perfect words. We just need to be honest, authentic, and tell him, what it is that you're facing, what it is that you're carrying. Be open, be honest, share your fears, share your pain, share your concerns, share your questions. Because I truly believe, we weren't designed to carry this burden alone by ourselves. In fact, I couldn't imagine having to do it alone by myself. I wouldn't be able to do it. There's no way. So again, just know that you're not alone in this journey, and there is a higher spirituality to this, and we're not alone in dealing with this. Faith hasn't removed my disease. It hasn't removed my hardships. I still have Parkinson's, but it's helped me persevere through it. It's helped me handle the bad waves with grace and love and kindness to myself, and understanding that, it's given me faith that I know the next wave may be a good wave, or maybe the next wave is a bad wave, and, I got to dig down deep and pray more and open my heart up to God, and to help me get through another bad wave until the next good one comes. And even then I still pray, and I still tell God, how grateful I am for the good times as well. I still pray during those times. It's not only during the bad times we need God. We have to have God through the good and the bad. So my good times, when the medicine's working and I have these good moments, and I'm parked in a handicapped parking spot, and someone that as young as me gets out of the car, I get the weirdest stares. Sometimes it looks like they want to come up and tell me something, where it doesn't look like I have a disease. It doesn't even look like I'm disabled at that, at that point in time when everything's working. Where I do feel healthy. I do feel energetic. I do sometimes feel symptom free. But, that's, I realize that's only, that's just the way for the time being. But in that moment, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I'm happy. I try to thrive, and I try to squeeze out every one of those good seconds in my life when everything's just going as, I would say, as I hope for it to be for my entire life. But unfortunately, it's just that way for me. What I'm also trying to invite you guys all into is to see my more difficult waves, my more difficult challenges that many of you probably don't know that I experience, whether it's my muscle stiffness, my tremors, the anxiety that comes from all this, the medication, the adjustments I have to get done, through chiropractic and massage therapy, the fatigue, just kind of where the times and moments where I feel like my body isn't cooperating, or moments where I'm realizing the progressiveness of this disease is surreal to me. But both good version of me and the bad version of me are both my reality. And I don't let that define who I am. I always, again, approach life one wave at a time, whether it's good or bad. Trigger my wife because she says I'm a walking Pinterest quote guy. I'll often tell her and myself, that life is like the weather. It's not always going to be rainy. It's not always going to be sunshine. It's got the good and the bad. The ocean can't always just be calm. There's going to be rough waves. There's going to be nice, beautiful waves. And life's not always going to be easy, and it won't always be hard either, and we just have to learn how to enjoy each and every moment of life. The way I do that is I continue to live my life to the fullest of my ability, through adventure, laughter, joy, finding peace, things that bring me peace and love, and just really bring me fulfillment and makes me feel whole. And I don't think those are many things that money can buy. Those are the kind of the things that I have to go out into nature and just kind of, get out there and just kind of get it for myself. Those are feelings of appreciation that I don't think you can buy, like how I started off the video, with like cars or, materialistic things. Also, everyone has their own journey in life. I don't think it's fair or right for us to compare ourselves to other people as well. Everyone is dealing with something that we may not know. Things can go hidden, much like my disease. Many people really didn't think there's anything wrong with me. So again, we have to remember to be kind to one another and patient with one another, because we don't know what battles and challenges we're facing. We've got to be patient with ourselves and kind to ourselves as well as others, especially those who remain invisible. So again, if you're someone that's been diagnosed recently with Parkinson's or any other life condition, I want you to really listen to this and take a deep breath. You don't have to figure everything out today for the next 20 years of your life. You're just taking it wave by wave, moment by moment, and we just want to focus on what we can control in that moment, in that first wave that we're experiencing in that time being. You want to give yourself permission to be able to adjust, to if it is a new diagnosis. It may be shocking, and overwhelming, and oh my goodness, like what is my life going to look like? And it's okay to have those thoughts and to fear and to kind of think down the road, but don't stay stuck in that moment. Don't stay stuck thinking about the future. Come back to your own reality and find the good waves that you have in your life that you can write out and live in joy and peace. Find the love that you have for life. I often get asked, how am I so positive? And the answer is, that I don't ignore the hard days. I've just really learned to soak in and appreciate the good days and the good waves that I go through. And when they come, I trust that the difficult ones aren't here to last forever. I wish the good waves lasted forever, but just as the good waves come and go, so do the bad waves and the bad moments and bad times. It's kind of ironic, but on that train of thought, it reminds me of the famous quote from one of my favorite movies, from Fast and the Furious, is that Don talks about how he lives his life 1/4 mile at a time, and that's why in the movie Paul Walker, in the role of as Brian, that's why they became best friends, is because they approach their life 1/4 mile at a time. And for me, that's kind of like one wave at a time. The moment there's gonna be good and bad moments throughout life for everyone. And it's important not to hang on to the bad moments, to hang on to the good moments, and know that good waves are still coming. I do realize that the world is filled with pain and hurt and darkness, but there's also parts of the world that's also filled with love, joy, peace, laughter, kindness. And I urge you to really tap into those areas and not focus into the darkness. Don't self-isolate. If you're getting a new diagnosis, don't feel like your life's over. It's just this wave, and you're going to learn how to get through it. Just be patient with yourself. I started this whole journey of sharing my truth and my experiences through Parkinson's, and just kind of really inviting people in to see like what my day-to-day looks like, the good and the bad, when tremors are on and when they're off. And that's because I want you to know that we don't have to self-isolate, and that's not going to help us heal. What's going to help us heal is, reaching out to our community, our family, our friends, being honest, being vulnerable with them, and being honest with yourself. And I think it's very important to live the life that brings you the most meaning. Do the things that bring you joy and happiness, and really tap into that and experience those things even more so when you can. A friend told me about this quote. I want to just share it with you all. The picture we paint may not be the one we envisioned or expected, but it can still become a beautiful masterpiece and one to appreciate and enjoy. And I think that's so beautifully said. Like, never did I ever think I was gonna have a permanent disease at such a young age of my life, where I started experiencing symptoms at the age of 17. But even though it was unexpected, I didn't let that stop me from continuing to find ways to have a happy life, to have happy moments, to have, I don't know, just to have a life worth living, you know? Like, I created so many memories, as you'll see throughout my feed and videos that I'll continue to share, that I have many beautiful moments in my life that I'm so grateful for, you know? And I want you to really hone in on that, you know, and focus what good things have happened in your own lives, you know, what things that you enjoy living for and doing, and just tap more into those and try to make more good waves out of that within your own life, is just doing the things that you really love doing. So whether you're on riding a good wave right now or fighting through a difficult one, remember this: we need to be kind to yourself, we need to be kind to others, we need to hold on to hope and take life one wave at a time. Until next time, remember to be kind to yourself and others, and remember to live a life that is lived one wave at a time. Thank you.